What's up everyone? So if you follow my channel pretty closely, then you probably noticed that last week I didn't release a video. First off, that's a little creepy, but slightly flattering knowing that you guys are keeping up with my content. But the second reason is there's just a lot going on right now, mostly with work, but a lot going on socially. I'm sure you've seen all the news, so it's just kind of been a little bit of a strain. So I just decided let's take a mental and emotional break from posting a video. And you know what? It's okay to do such a thing. I'm not going to be diving into the current events and the tragedies that have been happening in the Asian community. That's just not what my channel's about. All I'm trying to say is 2020 has been quite difficult for some of us in the Asian community, but I managed to find an easy topic for today's video. But before we begin, if you're new to my channel, I make a lot of content based off of video tips, photo tips, reviews, photo walks. If that interests you, make sure to hit subscribe and that notification bell. That way you get all my content. So what I realized with my first video production basics video, and I'm just realizing that is a lot of words to say. The fault with that first video is that there's a lot of information that a lot of beginners are not going to understand. And theoretically, I did simplify it, but I guess just it feels like it wasn't enough. But the more I hang out around creators who have very little production experience, I've noticed that a lot of their questions tend to be more technical based, or some of the faults they had on their videos are very elementary to people that went to film school. And for those of you who are gonna start a YouTube channel, then this video should give you a little bit of insight of what you might need. So the first flaw a lot of creators overlook is good sound. Always remember that sound is 50% of the viewing experience. Sure, the image may be cinematic or like super high quality and HD 4K, but none of that's gonna matter if all your audio is, to put it bluntly, shit. I'm not gonna fully comprehend your content or your story if I can't hear it. And plus, if you have that great and sexy looking footage, then you wanna back it up with some really nice sound. Great sound backs great imagery. So what I would recommend is invest in some really good sound equipment. At the very least, get yourself an onboard shotgun mic for your camera. The built-in mic on your camera is not the best thing. It's more there for like reference or for people who are just making home videos. I mean, here, I got a shotgun mic plugged into my camera right now, and actually you're listening to a lapel mic. Now I'm switching over to the shotgun mic, and you can hear that the sound is okay, you know, it's not too bad, not the greatest, but if I were to, after restarting the camera and unplugging the shotgun mic, the audio should sound very shitty. Just by having the shotgun mic plugged in, it's gonna elevate your audio quality. Now, if you really wanna elevate your audio, get yourself a decent lapel mic and an audio recorder. Now, I'm gonna be upfront and say it's not necessary, but it does go a long way, especially if you wanna take this to the long run. Again, it's extra equipment you have to carry around or be accountable for. So I would just say if your budget allows for it, then go ahead and get yourself a lapel mic. The second technical flaw I see in a lot of beginner videos is really bad lighting. First and foremost, photography is created through lighting. I mean, the whole concept behind using a camera is exposing the sensor to light, so I'm not gonna jump into that whole scientific aspect to it, but lighting is everything. Now sure, cameras have come a long way ever since becoming digital, and also smartphone cameras can produce some pretty awesome looking images, but the camera can only compensate for so much on your image. When you shoot in low light, you're gonna notice that the image is gonna be really grainy and ugly looking. There's more technical reasoning behind it, but that's because the camera can only compensate for so much. And so what I would recommend behind getting some really good sound equipment is get yourself a pretty good light kit. At the very least, get a softbox kit or even just one of those like LED panels. And actually that's what I'm using right now to create this edge light. And I know I keep saying sound is like one of the most important thing, but you also want your images to look good or relatively good. I remember my earliest light kit was just using LED panels and some clamp lights. They may not be the best, but they were practical, cheap, and relatively efficient. But as I got more into my video production career, I realized that a good light kit is gonna do so much better. So if you just invest that $100 in the beginning to get yourself a light kit, then you could probably avoid years of mistake that I made as a video creator. The third flaw I find a lot of beginners fall into is investing in a really expensive camera. Now technically a camera with a big price tag will have some of like the more latest and greatest technology that any video person's gonna need. But I also have to advise against it, because if you never used a camera before, you don't want to go out and buy like a really professional grade camera when you don't know how to use it. And to be honest, there are too many cameras on the market, because every camera company, they're trying to release something like almost every 6 to 12 months with one little change that not necessarily is gonna do anything better. That's a whole nother discussion for another time. Actually sit down and research cameras, because some of the bodies are gonna have more buttons compared to others, and it can get confusing, or there's just more function that you're gonna not necessarily use. Now sure, you can argue that, oh, I'm gonna get the most expensive camera, and then it's gonna force me to learn how to use it properly. 6 months from now, is that gonna actually happen? I'm not trying to be an asshole, I'm just trying to be real and slightly blunt, because I know a couple people, they've dropped like 5 to 10 grand on just equipment. They bought the most expensive thing because someone told them to on YouTube. In one sitting, they bought maybe 5 to 6 grand worth, and then they dropped another 4 grand for other equipment. They used it probably like once or twice, and the equipment's just been sitting there ever since. So I don't want you beginners to go out there and just buy the most expensive camera, not know how to use it properly, hope that the images will save your video. If you are looking for a camera, at the very least, look for something with video function that shoots at 1920 by 1080. That is the industry standard, and it's not necessary to go 4K yet, because most people's phones and computers and monitors, they're not even set for 4K or can handle such a thing. So at the very least, find something with 1080p, and maybe in a couple years after you use your camera and understand the functions of it, then you can invest in like a more expensive one, or get the new one on the market once you know how to use the camera. Anyways, I hope you guys found this video useful. It wasn't really my plan, kind of last minute, but I just needed to take a mental break just with everything going on. Just remember guys, it's okay to take a break and just take a step back from the craziness of life. We're all in this together, and just look out for each other. If you guys like this video, make sure to hit subscribe and that like button, and definitely follow me on Instagram if you want to see more of my content. And let me know if you're planning to start your own channel, so that way I can go out and support you. So until next video, see ya.